everyone, it's Raul Klein. You're watching another movie of the week, and the movie of this week was Dirty Dancing from 1987. So if you haven't watched it, watch it now. If this is your first movie of the week. What I do is I talk about a movie here. You guys comment below your thoughts. At the end of every video, I say the movie for next week so you can follow along. Now, Dirty Dancing. This is my second time watching the movie, and I liked it better than the first. It is really hot in here because I just got home from work, so the AC hasn't been on all day. It's really hot in my room. I should have put on AC when I was making dinner and eating dinner, but I didn't. So we're gonna make this quick. So my first time watching Dirty Dancing, I think I might have been in college. Like, it's a classic movie that I waited too long to watch. Anyway, but I think this is why it's important to always rewatch movies, especially if it's a good movie, just because you pick up so much more your second time. And so this time I picked up so much more than the first time. Like, I obviously knew what happened, which I kind of forgot what happened until I watched it again, but it's like it hits you a little bit more or something. So Dirty Dancing, when everyone thinks about this movie or whatever, they think it's like a fun uplift movie, and that's kind of how I remembered the first time. And I do feel like the second time watching it is a happy, uplifting, everything whatever movie, but it deals with a lot of issues or themes that wasn't shown in that time period, or they didn't talk about in that time period. And it was the 80s, but I guess, I don't know, I think my mom was in her late 20s, but I don't know, it was still the 80s. I don't know, I feel like it felt like the 70s or something, the movie, not because of the style, but just because it feels like things. But I don't know, maybe it was, that's how things were in the 80s. So I guess the biggest two themes that was in the movie, and I'm dying right now because it's so hot, the two big themes that were in the movie were they deal with different classes and, you know, the poor versus the wealthy, and then also about abortion and women's rights. So I think, you know, in this movie it showed a woman getting pregnant and, you know, trying to get an abortion, and how during that time period it was so hard to get an abortion, and she just heard of this thing through this guy or whatever it was, and I think it was $250, which I was like, that's nothing. Kind of abortions nowadays are $500, I don't even know, but to them that was a lot of money, or in that time period it was a lot of money, I don't know. But I think it also shows how you know, there was this stigma put onto this woman because she ended up getting pregnant, and how it's on her, and the stigma of what happened. I just got a text, but you know, the stigma, especially who she was and whatever, when she got pregnant. And so how it shows how I think a lot of times in movies they didn't you know, obviously this was a thing in the 80s, but they didn't really show it in movies because it is something that's very controversial still nowadays, but especially in the 80s. So it was something where it's I don't know, is this the first movie that showed this, someone getting an abortion? I love how they, and also they weren't very straightforward, she's pregnant, straightforward, this is an abortion, you know, they never really said it. It was just contact clues. So I don't know, I wonder if people watch this and don't realize. I wonder what you would think something else happened, I don't know. But I think it just showed how it's, you know, women's health is everything, and how after she got the abortion, you know, she was very sick, it was unwell, it wasn't safe, and baby, also we're gonna get into why her name's Baby, but Baby's dad then had to come in, step in, you know, kind of care for her or whatever he did. And so it kind of shows that, and it's really amazing in the time period, you know, this is very, and it's a fun movie, but it has these takes. So then also, you know, the whole thing about class, I didn't really notice how prominent it was the first time watching it, but this whole thing about class, from the wealthy and the poor, and how really those people, they have to work every day, they can't lose their job, they're, you know, they're dancing, they're treating, they're doing all these things for all these wealthy people that are here on vacation, but for them, they're working and working and working, and they can't miss one day of work, because if they do, then maybe they lose other work opportunities. And so I think that's something that you don't also, that was kind of very new to cinema as well, because I feel a lot of times in movies you see about I feel like in the 1900s, you see people like who are wealthy or like are on their way to become wealthy and how they make it, but you don't like see like the different sides. Or maybe I just haven't watched enough movies from the 1900s, which I haven't. But you know, you don't see like the difference in how, you know, that. And in film school we were like kind of talking about like different like romance or romantic comedies and like, you know, classes like, you know, the wealthy and the poor, and like we use like Crazy Rich Asians as an example because that's like, you know, that's caused the problem. And so I feel like that wasn't very prominent before this time in movies or like romantic movies where it's like one of them is wealthy and one of them is not, and how that works out, and how, you know, the dad wasn't accepting of him, but it seems like he was more just not accepting because he thought he was the one who knocked up the girl. Anyway, so I guess that's why it's still like a fun, nice movie, but it's kind of like they did that and they like were able to not mask these controversial themes, but were able to like give it a platform to talk about it while also like still having a fun movie, and was able, I don't know, to trick people into like watching or whatever, kind of like the Barbie movie, but whatever. I'm like really hot. So also, why is her name Baby? Like, why do people call her Baby? Like, what's the point? When like writers, whoever makes this, like, I understand like the iconic line like nobody puts baby in the corner, like yeah, but like why can't you just say that, like calling her Baby? Or it's just like, why do you have to, why is her name Baby? Like, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. Also, like, it's supposed to be a love story, I guess, between them, and like she obviously since the beginning has a crush on him, but he like, when did he like her? Like, it just, they're dancing and he's teaching her, but like after it's over, be like, okay, you guys are done. Like, where was it? Like, when did he, like, I just didn't see it at all where he like fell for her. Like, I didn't see it. So like, when? So like, how? It just but I mean, it does feel like there's two parts in the movie, like the end of the movie, oh my god, beginning of the movie where she's learning to the dance, blah 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 blah, and the second part of the movie they're like together, but like they're not supposed to be together, and like, oh, blah blah blah. Anyway, but yeah, the iconic last scene where she like jumps, whatever, what is it called? He's just like lifting her. Is there like a dance term for it? I don't know, but it's still iconic. But yeah, I think it's important, you know, for us to talk about movies, and like, I feel like even if like this movie came out today, which, you know, they do remakes of this movie, whatever, but if this movie came out today, I still feel like the topics they talk about would be controversial for today. So the fact that it was in the 80s is like crazy. And so I think it's really important to talk about movies and what they teach you. And so I feel like this is a really good movie where it kind of like gave platform for these controversial issues, whatever. And it still was a fun and interesting movie, and it's a classic movie that people watch all the time. And so I think it's important, if you haven't watched this movie, to watch this movie. And if you haven't really thought out much about these issues, hopefully now you see it in this movie. Anyway, that is the review of Dirty Dancing. So comment below your thoughts. And the movie for next week is Bourne versus McEnroe from 2017. So what is that, like 30 years later from Dirty Dancing? Look, 97. Yeah, 30 years later. So, but yeah. So comment below your thoughts about Dirty Dancing from 1987. Watch Bourne versus McEnroe from 2017 for next week. And thank you guys for watching. I'm Rel Klein. What else? I'm like forgetting my outro right now. I'm so hot. But you know what, guys? Bye.